With new problems come new challenges, and the world, this country, has never faced anything quite like what we're facing here with this COVID-19 pandemic. It's had an effect on the culture, on business, and on the psyche of communities and people across the globe. One question I've been getting a lot recently that I want to talk about, and this is actually a question from one of my followers here on Facebook, is, well, let's check it out. Hello, Chef. I need advice. I was executive chef when our establishment closed the end of March. I was verbally guaranteed to resume my position at the same salary. I was called back at 50% as a line cook, at which time I refused. I'm currently seeking an equivalent position. In your opinion, was I wrong for declining that offer? So the question is, well, what would you do? You can stay at home and not have to work, take care of your family and chill. Maybe you're being productive with your time, maybe you're not, and make $600 a week. Or you can go back to work and potentially and likely maybe at least in restaurants or retail make less than that. Now the average check that's coming in for the unemployment assistance is I believe $380 a week, which is still a decent amount, right? If that's $10 an hour at 38 hours. But let's just do a little bit of quick math. So if you make $10 an hour and you're working 40 hours a week, which would be a full week before you're into overtime, that's $400 a week. Now, what I think the real answer would be here is, which I've seen some companies doing, and I'm not sure that the government would appreciate me saying this, but instead of bringing someone back full time, 40 hours a week, because maybe you're not at the full capacity yet, maybe you bring them back for 20 hours a week. It shows that the company is looking after you, and a number of other things we'll talk about here in a second. But and then maybe instead of offering 50% like the lady here in this question asked, maybe they can offer you 75%. So 20 hours a week, let's say instead of $10, you're making $750. Well, that's, do the math real quick, 20 hours, $750 an hour, that's like $150. Not great, right? If I'm doing the math right real quick. Now, if they bring back part-time, you can still file for unemployment for part-time. So maybe you're making that extra $250 a week. So you're back up to that 400 or so. You're able to help the restaurant, the retail company out, and at the same time, get your unemployment. You're being able to around the house more, to take care of your kids, taking to work, and all that kind of stuff. So that's one really good solution, I think. The answer I do not think is to stay at home and watch Netflix or play video games or just kind of waste your time. The biggest thing to think about, I think, aside from the fact that legally, you're required to be actively looking for a job, then you also have to be able to and willing to take a job if offered to you. And then on the other side of that, the employers have to work with the agencies to make sure that you're not able to work for them, all that kind of stuff. So at the end of this, at the end of July, once the unemployment assistance is over, if you don't take the job or keep your job, then you're probably not going to have one because, well, why would I bring you back if you willingly chose not to come back? But then also on top of that is, who's to say the market at the end of July is going to be any better than it is right now? So the question really is, the company that you work for right now, are they somebody that you want to come back to, that you feel like you have somewhat of a loyalty to, somewhat of a future with it potentially? And the reason why I say that is, right now, probably more than ever before, one of the great things that we're seeing is a lot of the community rallying around each other, people making sacrifices for the good of the people around them, people that they don't even know, in order to keep people safe. Now, getting through this whole pandemic, through this whole crisis, this obviously beyond just health, but financial, psychological, and a lot of situations, is going to take more sacrifices from everybody. And the question is the people that you work for, are they people that you are willing to make a sacrifice for? Do you feel like they have your best interest in mind? Think about it this way. You make a deal to be the executive chef somewhere, like this lady here, and say you get 40 hours a week paid, plus maybe a few extra hours here and there if you're on salary. These are your duties, and you get 2 weeks paid vacation. Well, say you use your 2 weeks paid vacation, then your Aunt Deborah dies. And next thing you know, you have to fly to Portland, across the country, to go to her funeral. Well, they could say, well, we made this agreement and we're going to stick to that. So you're going to have to go out to Portland on your own time. Or they could say, you know what? We're so sorry that you lost your aunt. Go take care of your family stuff. You fly out to Portland, you show up there, and there at the wake you see flowers from your employer that says, you know, best wishes, all that kind of stuff that shows they care. Now, they didn't have to do that, but they showed that, hey, we have your back. But they only do that, or you only do that, if you feel like the other side has your back. So if you are willing to maybe make some small sacrifice in order to help the good of the group, that can go a long way. It shows them once you need us, we got your back too. So that's the most important thing here. If you see the company that you're working with or were working with before this whole pandemic started as someone that you would go to bat for, that you want to be a part of, that you're proud to be with, then maybe it's worth making a small sacrifice in order to help them in a time of need. Because you know what? At the end of the day, we all have times of need. And the more we can help each other in this time, the better we're all going to feel. And hell, if you're used to being at work 40 hours a week, now you have 40 extra hours of your time. If nothing else, please use it productively. If you go back to work part-time, now you have 20 hours a week. Use it productively. You know, Ryan Holiday talks about right now we have either alive time or dead time. Well, what time is that for you? Are you using it to be productive, to get better, to learn, to grow, to increase your understanding of the business so that when things come back, you're hitting the ground running? Or are you using it to play video games and watch Netflix? I know one thing, and it's that as a restaurant's trying to crank back up to hopefully near full occupancy in the next couple months, it's going to take the work for a lot of people. It's very hard going from park to fifth gear in a short amount of time. If they can keep things in second gear or third gear and plugging along so that once things crank back up, it's going to be a lot easier to go from second or third gear back into fifth gear. I think that's what we're looking at. And if the company's important to you, if you're willing to make the sacrifice, just know that they'll probably do that for you down the road too. And if not, then maybe it's not worth a company you want to work with.